Hello everyone. In this video, we'll be discussing part 2 of chapter 3 history, which is kinship, caste, and class. So, the first topic which we have to discuss is social differences within and beyond the framework of caste. So, now we all know about caste system. It is basically the social division of society. That is, society में categories बना दी जाती हैं which are hierarchically arranged. In India, we have four major castes, which are the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and the Shudras. तो अब ये ऑर्डर हमारे पास आया कहाँ से? तो इस ऑर्डर के बारे में लिखा गया है इन द धर्मशास्त्र एंड द धर्म सूत्रस. तो अब अकॉर्डिंग टू ब्राह्मण्स दिस कास्ट सिस्टम इज डिवाइनली ऑर्डेन्ड. तो डिवाइन का मतलब होता है गॉड एंड ऑर्डेन्ड मीन्स टू ऑर्डर. तो दिस इज समथिंग विच इज ऑर्डर्ड बाय द गॉड or made by the god. Secondly, your status in the caste system is determined by birth. तो अब ये जो क्लेम है दैट कास्ट सिस्टम इज डिवाइनली ऑर्डेन्ड, इसके लिए ब्राह्मण्स साइट ऋग्वेद. ऋग्वेद में दे स्पेसिफिकली मेंशन पुरुष सूक्त. सूक्त का मतलब होता है कलेक्शन ऑफ मंत्रस. तो पुरुष सूक्त में बात की गई है पुरुष की, विच इज प्राइमेवल मैन or a divine being. Primeval is something which belongs to ancient times. तो अब ये जो पुरुष है which is a cosmic divine being, तो ये माना गया है that the castes emerged or had their origin from this पुरुष. तो जो ब्राह्मण कास्ट थी that originated from the mouth of this पुरुष. Then जो क्षत्रिय क्लास थी which is the warrior class originated from the arms of this पुरुष. Vaishyas emerged from the thighs and Shudras emerged from the feet. Now let's discuss कि इन castes के function क्या थे. So the first important point is ये जो caste थी ये एक hierarchical order में थी. That is, the Brahmins would be the highest class and then the Kshatriyas, then the Vaishyas and ultimately the Shudras. So now coming on to the occupations of these castes. Brahmins were supposed to study and teach Vedas. They were supposed to perform sacrifices. Next, Kshatriyas used to engage in warfare. उनका main काम था the protection of people and administration of justice. इसीलिए जो kings होते थे they belonged to the Kshatriya caste. Further, Kshatriya Ved भी पढ़ते थे and they used to get sacrifices performed by the Brahmins. Next, Vaishyas का मेन काम था to engage in pastoralism, agriculture and trading activities, and Kshudras were meant to serve the three varnas, which is the Kshatriyas, Brahmins and the Vaishyas. अब one important thing to note is that ये जो castes emerge हुई थी initially they were on the basis of occupation. That is, लोग जो काम करते थे उसके accordingly उनकी caste determine होती थी. However, with time ये जो caste थी it came to be determined by birth. That is to say, for example, अगर आपके grandfather या father belong to the वैश्य caste तो आप भी वैश्य caste को ही belong करोगे. तो इनिशियली हम कह सकते हैं जो कास्ट सिस्टम था दैट वाज मोर फ्लेक्सिबल, हाउएवर विद टाइम इट टर्न्ड रिजिड. अब ये जो कास्ट सिस्टम था एंड जो नॉर्म्स थे विच वर मेंशन्ड इन धर्मशास्त्रस एंड धर्मसूत्रस, इनकी एनफोर्समेंट के लिए द ब्राह्मण्स डिवाइज्ड सर्टेन स्ट्रैटेजीज. इनमें से सबसे पहली स्ट्रैटेजी थी to portray the caste system as something of divine origin. हम already discuss कर चुके हैं that they portrayed as if the caste system was divinely ordained, that is ordered by the god. तो अगर ऐसा था तो it became mandatory for people to abide by these norms. The second strategy which they adopted was they started advising kings to ensure कि ये जो norms हैं ये follow किए जाएं. They stated कि it is the duty of the kings to ensure कि ये जो norms हैं इनको follow किया जाए. Thirdly, they adopted the strategy of persuasion, that is वो लोगों को persuade करने लग गए that the caste system or their status in society basically is determined by their birth. अब इसके लिए दे अडॉप्टेड द मेथड ऑफ स्टोरी टेलिंग, दैट इज़ वो स्टोरीज के थ्रू इन आइडियाज़ को री इन्फोर्स करते थे. अब फॉर एग्जाम्पल व्हेन वी टॉक्ड अबाउट महाभारत, उसमें हमने देखा कि हाउ द आइडिया ऑफ पैट्रिलिनी वॉज स्ट्रेंथन्ड बाय द सेंट्रल थीम ऑफ महाभारत. The similar methods were used for the propagation of this idea as well. Now let's move on to the next subtopic. So the next subtopic is non-Kshatriya kings. अब we have discussed कि शास्त्ras के according it was only the Kshatriyas who could be the kings. But there are a lot of exceptions to this general rule. For example, Mauryans के case में Brahmanical texts consider them to be of low origin. तो Mauryans के बारे में we've already discussed in chapter 2. You can refer to that video. The second example which we have is that of the Shak dynasty. So these Shak people, they came from Central Asia in the 1st and the 2nd centuries BCE. इन लोगों को रेफ़र करने के लिए ब्राह्मण्स ने टर्म्स यूज़ की हैं लाइक मलेच विच मीन्स अनटचेबल, barbarians which are uncivilized people, and even outsiders. Now, although these people were not Brahmins, there are evidences which suggest that these people were aware with the Sanskritic traditions. For example, the book mentions about Rudradaman, who was a Shak king. So he followed traditions and performed activities which were mandated by the Dharma Shastras and the Dharma Sutras. The next example which we have is of Shatkarni. Shatkarni was basically a ruler of the Satvahan dynasty. Although he was a ruler, he was not a Kshatriya but a Brahman. तो इन सब एग्जाम्पल से हमें पता चलता है that the caste system was not always followed. Further, political power was open to anyone who could muster support or resources. तो जो भी रिसोर्सेज या सपोर्ट इकट्ठा कर सकता है ही कैन बिकम द रूलर. और ऐसा ज़रूरी नहीं था दैट इन ऑर्डर टू बिकम अ रूलर यू नीड टू बी अ क्षत्रिय बाय बर्थ. Further, this goes on to show that the caste system was not a sophisticated framework, but it was something which was extremely complex. For instance, we've seen that Satvahans, they claimed to be Brahmins. Then if you've seen the previous video, you would know that Satvahans, they entered into marriage alliances which were not restricted to their own caste. तो वो intercaste marriage भी करते थे. Thirdly, they practiced endogamy, that is वो अपने ही ग्रुप में मैरिज करते थे, जबकि this was not something which was prescribed by the religious texts. So now let's move on to the next subtopic, which is jatis and social mobility. There are 4 major castes. However, बहुत सारी सब castes भी होती हैं जिन्हें हम जातीज कहते हैं. Unlike caste, the number of jatis is not restricted. तो there can be numerous jatis. कई बार क्या होता था, the people who belonged to one jati, they shared a common occupation or a common profession, as a result of which they organized themselves into guilds or shrenis. So in the second chapter we discussed about guilds. वहाँ पे we discussed how guilds, they procure raw materials, they regulate production of good and they market their finished product, and how the membership of a guild is considered to be of honor. तो most of the times ये जो members होते थे of the guild, they used to belong to one subcaste or one जाति. तो अब जब हम सोशल मोबिलिटी की बात करते हैं, सोशल मोबिलिटी का मतलब होता है मूवमेंट विद इन और बिटवीन सोशल स्ट्रैटा. सो इन द बुक वन एग्जाम्पल इज गिवन. मेंशन किया गया है दैट देयर वाज एन इंस्क्रिप्शन विच वाज फाउंड इन मध्य प्रदेश विच टॉक्स अबाउट अ गिल्ड ऑफ सिल्क वीवर्स. तो ये जो सिल्क वीवर्स थे, दे ट्रैवल्ड फ्रॉम वन प्लेस टू अनदर बिकॉज दे हर्ड कि ये जो दूसरी प्लेस है यहाँ का रूलर इज़ वेरी generous. तो इस तरह से we get evidences of how there were a number of social processes taking place at that time. Now let's move on to the next subtopic. अब नाउ वी हैव डिस्कस्ड कि जो डोमिनेंट कास्ट थी दैट वाज द ब्राह्मण्स. दे ट्राइड टू exert their influence over all other castes. However, there are cases where the Brahmanical ideas they were not given importance by people. तो अब जो लोग ब्राह्मणिकल आइडियाज़ को फॉलो नहीं करते थे उनको बहुत सारी अलग अलग टर्म्स से बुलाया जाता था. फॉर एग्जाम्पल वी हैव फॉरेस्ट ड्वेलर्स, दैट इज़ पीपल हु यूज़ टू लिव इन फॉरेस्ट्स, और ये अपना गुजारा करते थे बाय वे ऑफ हंटिंग एंड गैदरिंग. देन वी हैव निषाद. पीपल लाइक एकलव्य belonged to this category. Then we have the category of nomadic pastoralists. Nomads या जिन्हें हम बंजारे कहते हैं, they are basically people that travel from place to place to find fresh pasture for their animals, and these are people who do not have any permanent residence. Then there are people who spoke non-Sanskritic languages. They were called as Malech. So what we see is that there were people who were considered to be outside the social system, and these are example of such people. तो एक तरह से there was a sharp divide which was created in the society. एक साइड पे we had the Brahmins who were considered to be pure, and दूसरी तरफ we had untouchables who were considered impure. अब ये जो notion था of untouchability or the notion of being pure and impure was based on the functions these people used to perform. तो अब जो ब्राह्मण्स थे they used to perform yagya, they used to perform havan, and they used to study and teach Ved. However, on the other hand, we have untouchables who used to perform activities which were referred to as polluting. अब इन लोगों का काम होता था to serve the other three classes, to do works like collection of garbage, handle corpses or dead bodies, even dead bodies of animals. There's another term used for people who handled corpses, that is dead bodies, which is Chandals. So now let's discuss the duties of Chandals as laid down in Manusmriti. अब now मनुस्मृति is a धर्म शास्त्र. तो मनुस्मृति में मेंशन किया गया है कि चंडाल्स की क्या ड्यूटीज़ होंगी. फर्स्ट, दे वर सपोज टू लिव आउटसाइड द विलेजेस, दैट इज़ वो आउटस्कर्ट्स में रहते थे, नॉट इन द विलेजेस. देन दे वर सपोज टू यूज़ डिस्कार्डेड यूटेंसिल्स. दे वर सपोज टू वियर क्लोथ्स ऑफ द डेड. They were supposed to wear ornaments of iron and not of gold or silver or other precious materials. Then they were not supposed to walk in the cities or the villages at night, and their main function was to dispose of the dead. Especially वो लोग जिनके relatives नहीं होते थे उनकी bodies को dispose of करने का काम चंडाल्स का होता था. Then we have accounts of Fa-Xian, या जिसे फाह्यान भी कहा गया है कई बुक्स में, and of Xuanzang. तो Fa-Xian एक चाइनीज़ बुद्धिस्ट मॉन्क थे and he was a translator. He traveled by foot from ancient China to ancient India. He was the first Chinese monk to travel to India. So he came during the time of Chandragupta II. और ये ट्रैवल करते थे इन दी सर्च ऑफ बुद्धिस्ट स्क्रिप्चर्स. तो इनके एक अकाउंट के अकॉर्डिंग जब ये अनटचेबल्स स्ट्रीट्स पे रोम करते थे तो दे वर सपोज टू रिंग अ बेल और मेक एनी साउंड बाय विच अदर पीपल विल गेट टू नो दैट दे आर रोमिंग इन दी स्ट्रीट्स, ताकि जो दूसरे लोग हैं वो एक प्रिकॉशन की तरह अपने घर से बाहर ना निकलें सो एज टू अवॉइड सीइंग दीज चंडाल्स. Then, according to the account of Xuanzang, he mentioned that these executioners or these chandals, they were forced to live outside the city. So this is how we get to know that on the basis of caste, people were discriminated against, they were oppressed, and we get to know what were the social relations existing at that time. So now let's move on to the next topic. So the next topic is beyond birth, resources and status. So in the second chapter, we discussed how there were different categories of people which came into existence. There were agricultural laborers, there were hunters, village headmen, peasants, craftspersons, kings, merchants, etc. अब ये जो सारी सोशल पोजीशंस थी, दे वर ऑफन शेप्ड बाय देयर एक्सेस टू इकोनॉमिक रिसोर्सेज। अब दिस मेंट कि जिसके पास ज़्यादा एक्सेस होगा टू दीज इकोनॉमिक रिसोर्सेज, दैट पर्सन विल हैव अ रिलेटिवली हायर सोशल पोजीशन इन द सोसाइटी। तो अब हम डिस्कस करते हैं द पैटर्न्स ऑफ एक्सेस टू दीज इकोनॉमिक रिसोर्सेज। So the first subheading which we are going to discuss is gendered access to property. So now in the previous video when we talked about Mahabharata, we discussed how the idea of patrilineal was reinforced by Mahabharata. So when we see the central theme of Mahabharata, हम देखते हैं कि how the idea that property and resources will go to the son after the death of the father was strengthened. Then, Mahabharata also throws light on the status of women which was existing at that time or which was prevalent at that time. For example, in Mahabharata, we have seen how Draupadi was put at stake by the Pandavas in the game of dice. तो देखा जाए तो द्रौपदी को भी as a form of property ही treat किया गया. Then next we have मनुस्मृति. तो मनुस्मृति में भी यही कहा गया है दैट प्रॉपर्टी विल बी डिवाइडेड अमंग द सन्स एंड डॉटर्स की बात नहीं की गई. स्पेसिफिकली दे हैव मेंशन्ड दैट द एल्डेस्ट सन विल हैव द मेजर शेयर. देन इन एंशियंट टाइम्स विमेन के पास जो प्रॉपर्टी होती थी विच वॉज सोलली देयर ओन, दैट वॉज स्त्रीधन. अब स्त्रीधन इज नथिंग बट द गिफ्ट्स विच द विमेन रिसीव्स एट द टाइम ऑफ हर मैरिज. Further, Manusmriti also mentions that for men, there are 7 ways of earning or acquiring wealth. However, for women, there are only 6 methods. अब these 7 methods include work, investment, accepting gifts from good people, conquest, purchase, finding, and inheritance. However, in case of women, the 6 means are gifts which she receives at the time of marriage, then gifts which she receives from her brother, mother, or father, and any other gift which she receives from her husband. So, from all these points, we can see how there was discrimination when it comes to access to property on the basis of gender, how women they were not entitled to any property. However, there are exceptions to this. For example, we've seen the case of Prabhavati Gupta, who was the daughter of Chandragupta II. So, we've discussed about her in the previous videos. So, these exceptions show that there is a possibility that upper class women or the ruling elite they had access to resources. However, the general rule was that only men will be entitled to wealth or property. Now let's move on to the next subtopic, which is Varn and access to property. Now if you see the caste system and see the hierarchical order, you would think कि जो higher caste थी, that is the Brahmins and the Kshatriyas, they would be the wealthiest strata because they would have access to property. However, in a lot of cases, ऐसा देखा गया है that even people who belong to these strata, they are not rich. अब किंग्स को तो मोस्टली वेल्दी ही दिखाया गया है. However, all Kshatriyas are not kings. Similarly, there are even depictions of poor Brahmins. So, even members of this category were poor and did not have access to property or wealth. Then, with time, we see that Varn order के भी काफ़ी सारे critiques आए हैं. That is, people started questioning the caste system. Specifically, when we see that a lot of different religions started emerging, for example, Buddhism, who deviated from these fixed and rigid principles which were prescribed by the Sanskritic texts. तो अब बुद्धिज्म के केस में वी सी दैट इवन बुद्धिस्ट्स दे रिकॉग्नाइज्ड दैट देयर आर डिफरेंसेस इन सोसाइटी. हाउएवर, वन इम्पॉर्टेंट डिफरेंस इन केस ऑफ बुद्धिज्म इज दैट इन्होंने कहा कि ये जो डिफरेंसेस हैं दे आर फ्लेक्सिबल, दैट इज दे आर नॉट नेचुरल एज अपोज टू व्हाट कास्ट सिस्टम प्रोवाइडेड फॉर. कास्ट सिस्टम कहता था दैट यू बिलोंग टू अ पर्टिकुलर क्लास बिकॉज यू आर बॉर्न इन इट. हाउएवर बुद्धिज़्म ने इस नेचुरल आइडिया को रिजेक्ट किया. अब इनिशियली हमने देखा कि जो सोशल पोजीशंस थी दे वर शेप्ड बाय एक्सेस टू इकोनॉमिक रिसोर्सेज. हाउएवर देयर आर एक्सेप्शंस टू दिस एज वेल. We see examples जहाँ पे people give more preference or importance to values than money or wealth. For example, there are situations where men who were generous, they were respected, while those who simply accumulated money, they were despised. That is, जो तो सिर्फ मनी इकट्ठी करते थे without giving back to society, they were disliked by people. However, on the other hand, there were people who helped the needy strata or the poor strata and they were admired by the people. So, Tamil Sangam texts talk about this, and therefore we can say that those who controlled resources were also expected to share these resources. So, this brings us to the end of this topic. This is all for this video. I'll be discussing the further topics in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.